Ready to see our ranking of this year's top 10 matcha teas? We have a few more matchas to try and then our list will be ready. As you'll see, a lot's changed in the rankings this year, and there have actually been some surprises. In the last part, we discovered the surprisingly delicious and affordable Sakamoto Sai matcha, made by a Gyokuro farmer in Shibushi, and the jade green Chanoka Silver matcha, which was a favorite so far. These are two strong contenders for the top 5. The Chanoka Okumidori and Matcha Kakitsubata have secured a spot in the top 10, but we still have plenty of great matchas ahead of us, so it will be interesting to see where they end up. We've collected the best pesticide-free matcha teas we found during our travels around Japan, and we'll be testing out the color, consistency, and taste of each to see how they compare to one another. Let's try a recent up-and-coming matcha, the Kyoto Matcha Masudaen. This is a blended matcha made by the farmer Mr. Masuda with leaves from Kyoto. For such an inexpensive matcha, it really has a solid color to it and a really smooth powder. This Kyoto matcha produces a beautiful foam and it has a super complex flavor. It's very smooth, but it has floral and grassy notes that make it quite unique. It leaves a cooling sensation on the palate and it has a slightly dry finish. Overall, I would rank this matcha behind the Sai and the Silver, but it punches well above its weight for such an affordable price tag. And I would say it outshines the Matcha Kakitsubata and Chanoka Okumidori. So far, the ranking is Silver in first, followed by the Sakamoto Sai in second, Kyoto in a close third, followed by the Chanoka Okumidori and Kakitsubata in fourth and fifth respectively. A lot is going to change as we have two of our most popular matchas coming in next. If you're enjoying this video, we would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to see more matcha videos in the future. Now let's get to our most popular matcha, the Matcha Washimine. This is another Okumidori matcha from Kyoto. It starts out strong with a dark, almost olive green color and a fine powder. I was able to get an extremely thick foam on the matcha, but the flavor was a little bit disappointing. Don't get me wrong, this matcha is still quite good. Milky, well-rounded, and it has a strong marine flavor profile that a lot of matcha drinkers are looking for. It did, however, leave a little bit of bitterness in the finish. This matcha has previously ranked very high on our list, but now it's getting upset by newer matcha teas like the Kyoto and Sakamoto Sai, which are positioned slightly above it in the new rankings. Next, we have a cousin to the Washimine, the Nakai Superior Matcha. This matcha is produced by the same family and it's made using the same tea plant variety, but it's made using a more refined process to produce a greener color and a better flavor. You can see that this matcha produces a very dense foam, even thicker than the Washimine. The flavor is bolder, richer, and more full-bodied. There's also a nice nuttiness in the taste, which makes the matcha quite complex. It has a milky finish and even less bitterness. This Nakai Superior comes with a higher price tag, but it's good enough to jump ahead in our rankings, ahead of all other matchas, but slightly behind the Silver. Next, we have the Noike matcha, the least expensive matcha on this list by a pretty substantial margin. This matcha is once again produced by the Okumidori cultivar, just like the last two, but it's grown on a small farm in the middle of a pinewood forest just outside of Kyoto. Mr. Noike credits this pine forest, which provides the plants with partial shading throughout the day for the unique flavors of his teas. As you can see, this matcha has a slightly duller shade of green without the vibrancy we've seen in other powders. The matcha still foams up fine and the flavor was quite interesting. The Noike matcha is a little on the drier side, with notes of summer grass, citrus, and nori, or dried seaweed. This acidity is not something I typically look for in a matcha, but the flavor is interesting enough to secure a spot on our top 10. So we still have one matcha left to try out, but I wanted to add in the Chiran Premium, which I had tasted just a few weeks prior to this comparison. This matcha has a really green color, smooth and velvety consistency, and the flavor is vegetal forward with a nice umami and nuttiness in the finish. I would put this one in between the Silver matcha and the Nakai Superior. Okay, finally we have the Masudaen Makinohara matcha, which is my pick for number 1. This matcha is also produced by the farmer Mr. Masuda, but it's made from tea plants grown in Shizuoka. This matcha comes with a very affordable price tag, which definitely earns it some points, but even though it's inexpensive, Mr. Masuda has cut no corners in the production of this masterpiece. The color is a vibrant shade of green, it's perfectly ground, and it foams up beautifully. Not only is the matcha smooth, but it actually has a light sweetness to it that's just incredible. There's a smooth, milky finish and absolutely no bitterness. You can get a hint of minerality with this tea, which is likely due to the mineral-rich mountain soils of Shizuoka. So let's unveil the final ranking. In first place, we have the Masudaen Makinohara matcha, a great matcha tea for beginners and experts alike. The silver medal goes to the Noike Silver, which displays the most luminescent green color and super rich flavor. The Chiran Premium Matcha comes in 3rd place, a huge improvement from last time where it came in at 6th place. The reigning champion matcha, Nakai Superior, slid down to 4th place, mainly due to the fact that there are now matchas just as good for a fraction of the price. In 5th place, we have the Sakamoto Sai Matcha, which is one of the more affordable matcha teas on the list. This one is absolutely a perfect ceremonial matcha for beginners. In 6th place, we have the Masudaen Kyoto Matcha, another great beginner's matcha with a surprisingly smooth and complex flavor. The Washimine in 7th place has fallen the farthest, mainly due to the slight bitterness in the aftertaste and the higher price tag. It's still a great matcha, but there are many others I'd recommend trying first. In 8th, we have the Noike Okumidori, which is still super smooth, but it has a slightly dry finish to it, whereas the other matchas do not. The Matcha Kakitsubata comes in 9th place, helped by its unique minerality, which comes from the rocky mountain soils in which it was grown. Finally, we have the least expensive matcha on the list at 10th place. The Noike matcha is a very unique and interesting matcha, but it has these citrusy and summer grass flavor profiles that a lot of matcha drinkers tend to avoid. What did you think of our list? Which of these matchas is your favorite? If you want to try any of the matcha teas, please feel free to browse our website and see which ones you want to try. These are all pesticide-free matcha teas we've selected during our travels around Japan, after meeting with dozens of farmers and sampling hundreds of matcha teas. So if you have any questions about our teas, please feel free to leave a comment below, but until then, we'll see you next time.